Hello, everybody. Today we have with us Professor Shyam Pingle from Indian Institute of Public Health. Welcome to the College Dunia portal, sir, and on another episode of Thoughts on Education. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
on board with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So, sir, beginning with the interview, I would like to start with a brief introduction of yourself. Could you just proceed with that?
Oh yes, certainly. My name is Dr. Shyam Pingle, and I'm working here as a senior occupational health and environmental health specialist, and also adjunct professor. And I'm working with IIPG for last 6 years, from 2015. Prior to that, I have worked with various industries and looking after their health services in the leadership positions, and leading industries like Reliance Industries Limited and IBM. I have worked with that. I had the good fortune to work with that. And currently I'm responsible at the university for teaching, research and projects in the field of occupational and environmental health. I also help the institution because I'm also examination controller. So I look after the examinations. And we also have activities which I chair related to internship, dissertation and placement of the students. So I get to face and interact with students a lot in these areas. So therefore I'm very happy to speak to you and share my views with our student community. Thank you.
That's great, sir. It's a pleasure having you. So, getting right away with the question is, sir, my first question to you would be that how does the curriculum of Indian Institute of Public Health ensure the best practices of the industry?
At the Indian Institute of Public Health, Gandhinagar, which we fondly call as IIPG, that's how I'll be referring it, we have various courses and we have various training programs and short-term courses. Our flagship courses are MPH, which is Masters in Public Health, as well as MHA, which is Masters in Health Administration. So these are our two courses. Then we also have a course in Occupational Health, which we call as Associate Fellow in Industrial Health. And recently, we have also started PhD program in Public Health at our university. And in all these programs, we have seen or we have ensured that they are more or closer to the practical realities of life. We do not want students to get only the theoretical knowledge, but also what they face when they go to the field and practice, that should be there. That's why we give a lot of importance to these practical areas and field practice. So that's why in a 2-year course, what we have is we have 2 months of internship, which is generally there in the first year, wherein students go to a particular field area or an institution and observe the work there, and also support them in doing their activities. So in this process, students get the on the field and on the job experience of the activities which are taking place in various institutions in the field of public health and also the hospitals. And in the second year, we gave them an opportunity to do their dissertation for a period of 4 months, 4 to 5 months. So it has 3 to 4 months of practical work and 1 month of report writing. Here, students go with a particular idea in which they have interest, and they have a mentor or a guide allocated to them from the faculty of the institute. So they carry out that research or that project and then prepare a report. So generally this becomes very important for them, and in fact many students get their subsequent employment related to this work and these activities. So these are the two major things by which we make the students ready for the practical work. So when they complete their education, get a degree and go out, they know what to do and how. They also know what are the various challenges which they will face, and they are prepared. That is one way we give them practical education and practical experience. And we also have various visiting faculties. Apart from the regular faculties of the institute, we have close to 18 to 20 regular faculties who have their education in India as well as abroad, and who are all postgraduates and then PhD or doctorate holders. So very qualified faculties we have. In addition to that, we also bring industry leaders who work in various industry positions. They come and talk to our students, so they have the interactions with the people in the field, and they also know their experiences and also know the requirements. What are their expectations when our students go out in the practice? They also know. And we also have international faculty members which are coming in. So from time to time, so these 3-4 things make our institute slightly different than other institutes, because students get all these experiences and they're better prepared to face the realities of life.
Absolutely, sir. That's great. It's good to know that theoretical knowledge is being given equal importance as the practical knowledge. Plus, the students are getting a good exposure from the professionals from the real world. So that's a very good approach, sir. Thank you for your response. Moving on, my next question to you would be, could you throw some light and give us some insights on how the institute could be more welcoming to students of different races and economic backgrounds?
Yeah, first of all, of course, when we are doing at the time of admission, we do follow all government guidelines of reservations to SC, ST, OBC, and whatever government says, that is there. So that a mix of students is ensured. Then we also have various scholarships which help the economically challenged students as well as the bright students both, and they also get the support. Then we also get international students. We get students from Nepal, we get students from Africa. So the students are coming here and they are very happy, because whenever a student goes back, in the next batch we get another student from the same country. So that means they are definitely happy, and it comes by the reference. So these are the things we are doing, and then there are many things that we do. We know that students will come from different backgrounds and different areas, and especially located in Gujarat, some students may have problems or challenges with even language. So apart from explaining to the students in native languages wherever required, we also conduct classes in English for them, so that when they go out, they are at par with any other students. So because students will come with various limitations, but we want to make them at par with everyone else. So when they go out, they are willing to and ready to and able to face the exams. And then there are many other initiatives that we have, which we take. We have a mentorship program in our institute. So each student is being mentored by a faculty, and the faculty usually have 5 to 6 students to mentor in a particular year. So they can give them time, they can solve their difficulties, and they can also guide them in their various issues. So even if students come from different backgrounds, they have a friend and they have an enabler in their mentor in this.
Right. So, so this was one thing about the students. I would like to know a little more about your role, and ask you about that. What do you think your roles and responsibilities to the students as well as the university are?
Yeah. When it comes to the students, first is, of course, I'm a faculty member here, so I teach. I teach them occupational and environmental health, and both the things are becoming very important now in public health as well as in general life also. We have climate change, we have air pollution. Now, you must be aware that today's news or yesterday's news is about the glacier burst in Uttarakhand.
Right.
And the devastation which has come out because of this. Now, when you look at the reasons for this glacier burst, you realize that it is an effect of climate change. The global warming that is happening, that is resulting into this glacier burst and similar incidents like that. So that's the area, that's one of the areas which we teach and which I teach. Then we know about air pollution and how it is affecting our life. It is also leading to various diseases that we know. And like not only at Delhi and Ahmedabad, but at various places. Nowadays, everyone is aware and we know the things that are happening with air pollution. Climate change, there is also a lot of heat which is being generated. The things are getting hotter and hotter every year. And because of that also, a lot of people suffer. There is a lot of morbidity as well as even mortality along with that. So we do our research work and teaching in these areas and make students face the realities of life, and they are able to work and contribute to the society they go out. That is one area. Then I am also a mentor to, every year I mentor 5-6 students from each batch. So I interact with them, and if they have any difficulties, initially they would have different difficulties because they have to adjust to this. They come from small towns, they come from big cities. So it's a very different mix, each one. So they have to mix together, and that's how we have a very nice culture in the institution. So I try to contribute to that through my mentorship. And to the institute, as I have told you, examination is one of the big responsibility. Now, examination is not only to know about what student has learned, but also to make the student learn. And therefore, I don't call it examination, rather I call it evaluation. And it's an ongoing evaluation because evaluation also includes feedback. So we have evaluation, ongoing evaluation or concurrent evaluation when students are studying. And then we also have semester end examinations. We need to have a good sanctity of the examination. And I'll give you a very small example. When a few months ago this COVID came unexpectedly, then there were guidelines from the UGC and the government that don't take the examinations. You can pass the students even on the basis of what they have done earlier. Depending on their records, you can give them grades and you can make them pass. And students also wanted promotion. And you must have seen that all over the country, in many places, such promotions have taken place at a mass scale. But we resisted that temptation. We informed our students that examination gives you an opportunity to prepare, to reflect. When you prepare, you know what are the difficulties. When you know the difficulties, you will get them solved. So I'm very happy to tell you that we did not have any mass promotions, and we conducted the examinations, and we conducted them looking into consideration the internet availability and all other things, and they were very successful. And now my mentees have told us that if it was not for examination, they might not have studied many things. And because some of the other time they have to study, and at that time it becomes too much for them. So they are very happy that we conducted the examination. So examination is not something you need to be afraid of. It is a method of your feedback and evaluation. It is also an evaluation of the faculties, how we teach them, how students are retaining what we teach them, and how they are able to. So examination, no one should be afraid of, but it's a feedback, and that's how, that is the philosophy that we have. Then internship, dissertation, I have already told you that is they are the areas where student gets practical field experience, and that prepares them in a better way. And for placement, again, we have connect with various industries and where students can get employed. And we guide the students, we prepare them for the interviews, we coach them, and we have good connect to the industry. So people and our students are also performing well, because the best thing we could do is give good students to the industry. If they perform well, the industry will come to us again. If they don't perform, the industry will not come. So industry cannot come by our fame or our reputation, but industry can come only based on how our students perform and deliver the results. So that's where we.
Right, so that's a very different and unique approach to looking at examinations. Thank you for sharing that with us. So moving on, what do you think should be the institute and the university's top priority over the next 10 years?
Yeah, in fact, this is going to be a very challenging period. As I told you, climate change is one in which the public health is getting affected. But because of COVID, again, the situation in public health has turned topsy-turvy. It has changed a lot. There has been a phenomenal change. What did not happen in last 30 years will happen in next 3 years. Because now there is a renewed focus of the government on public health. So, and the society has also realized the value of public health. So now public health experts, there will be different expectations of the society from public health experts. They will expect that the public health experts will prepare them to face such eventualities and not suffer what we have suffered over last 1 year due to COVID and such situations. This is not the first pandemic, this is not the last pandemic. We are going to have more pandemics in future. And the key will be, we should try to prevent them, and when they are inevitable, we should try to face them successfully with least disturbance to the people's health in general and the country's economy in general. So both the things need to be addressed. So that's a big challenge. They are going to be the major things in the next few years, and it will go on for next 5 to 10 years. There will be a lot of churning, lot of transformation, and what will come out of that is going to be very good for the country as well as the public health in specific and country in general.
I'm sure, sir. Wishing IIPHG all the very best for the coming future. So, moving on, my next question is, what do you see as Indian Institute of Public Health's greatest strengths?
Yeah, as I told you, our strength is in 3 areas. The first and foremost is the infrastructure that we have. Because it's a public-private partnership with Government of Gujarat and Public Health Foundation of India. And we have a lot of support from international agencies also. So that is one area of strength that we have. Second is in the faculty. We have a very learned faculty who, most of them, or I'll say all of them, are PhDs or doctorates, and most of them have had their exposure to international area. So they know our country, they have worked in rural areas in India also, and they have seen how things are going on in other countries also. So they try to bring the best to the students. And then another area of our strength is our students. Because we get students from all over the country, we get students from abroad also. And in the postgraduate, we are not an undergraduate institution, we are a postgraduate institution because it's a specialized course. This is in fact the first public health university in India. So here, not only the faculty, but also students also contribute. Because students come from different backgrounds, they have different expertise. So they also contribute to the development of other students. So that is the participative nature of the course, and the practice areas that we have, the field practice experience that we give to the students. These are the main areas where we have our strengths. And we hope these are contributing and these are enabling our students to face and succeed in their life after graduation.
Absolutely, sir. I'm sure they are. So, without taking much of your time, so I would like to move to the last part of the interview and request you to give a few suggestions and advices to the current youth as well as the aspiring students planning to pursue public health.
Actually, the students now are quite learned, and I don't think they need any ideas, but being a professor, I cannot prevent myself from talking and giving unsolicited advice to the students. First and foremost, I like to tell the students that gone are the days of teaching. Now are the days of learning. So when it is the time to learn, the responsibility lies with you, not with teachers, not with your institute. They will give what they have to give, but you have to decide what you want. What you want from an institution, what you want from a faculty, what you want from a course. You have to have your ideas ready. You should know what are your expectations, what are your needs, and you should try to get the maximum from the infrastructure and the faculties which are available. Because once you go out and work, as we all have learned, then you don't get this infrastructure, then you don't get this facility, and you yearn for it, and it is very difficult. So this is the golden period that you have. This is the big opportunity that you have. So look at it as you're learning. You have the main responsibility for learning. So decide what you want to have, what you want, and get the best out of whatever facilities and infrastructure which is available to you. We also have a lot of optional courses or electives, as they call. When you ask me what are the strengths, so that is one of our biggest strengths. We have many electives. So, like we have maybe 10 courses, 8 courses from which you can select 3 or 4. You have a choice. So, you can fulfill your expectations and your requirements because you have a wide choice which you can do. So, use that with discretion. Then read. I will also tell the students, don't wait for you to be taught a particular area. Keep on reading it. If you read, you will go with more questions. You will go with more expectations, and then you will have a better learning of the situation. So basically, students should take the ownership of their studies. They should remember it is no more spoon feeding, but it is learning now. And they should get what they need, what they think, what are their areas of interest. And then last but not the least, I want students to be passionate. They should not do things because they have a market value. They should believe in themselves, they should have a passion, and they should try to get more knowledge and more studies and more exposure to the areas which they love, which excites them. So look at your studies as an excitement, look at it as a passion, and look at it as something which you are going to take with you for your life. So these are a few words of my experience I'd like to share. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your words. Those were indeed some motivational words, sir. On this note, I'd like to conclude the interview. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on board and sparing your time with us.
Yeah, at the end, I'll only say one thing, that IIPG, when Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi was here to lay the foundation of this institute, he was the Chief Minister at that time of Gujarat, he said, we want IIMs and IITs in public health. And that is what he expects from us. That is the objective he gave to us. So to my students also, I would like to tell that IITs and IIM is waiting for you. You will make it IIT or IIM or an ordinary institution. But then you also have to have that distinction. You also have to have that zeal and that market value, and which we together can do. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. Wishing IIPH all the very best on that note.
Thank you. And I wish College Dinia all the best. I know you're doing a lot of good work, and we are a witness to many of the things. And we also recommend to our students to take advantage of these things. So all the best to you also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.